Across the globe, environmental issues are threatening our world as we know it. As governments seem to struggle with the overwhelming size of the challenge, two visionary innovators have dedicated their lives to proving we can make a difference. One small victory at a time.
I'm here to make a change, and I know I'm gonna make it.
Marco takes on one of the world's biggest killers, contaminated water.
It's full of bacteria. That's why we are here.
Only one string failed, the project fails. No.
Topher fights to reduce climate change through protecting the forest home of an Amazonian tribe.
This is a fight for their survival.
Que vizinho é esse que está invadindo o terreno dos outros?
Only a small chance that this will work, but we gotta try it anyway.
Going down.
Italian renewable tech pioneer Marco Attisani wants to bring clean water to the people who desperately need it.
When I saw the dirty water these people, drink every day, that is not justified. Why? Just because we don't have the solution?
He believes that government and aid agencies have got it disastrously wrong with their program to build wells.
They dig wells, and they say to the world that the wells are the solution to the water issue. And it's full of bacteria.
Contaminated water is still killing over 2 million people every year. And this has become Marco's mission.
We're gonna fix it.
Originally, I was born in Brazil from a very poor family. I was born in a favela. Myself and my brother had the first pair of shoes at the age of 10. I was living in the street, so I do know what poverty is.
The brothers lived in an orphanage and were adopted when Marco was 10. Fiercely determined, within 20 years he became a successful businessman. But then tragedy struck.
If you lose a brother at the age of 26, you tend to be affected by that. I think he rather want me to focus on making an impact in the real world rather than remembering him, crying for him. This is the commitment I have with him.
10 years ago, Marco turned his attention to renewable energy technology.
Ciao ragazzi!
He and his team of engineers' latest passion project is a prototype off-grid water purifier.
This is a challenge. You need to have a machine that is simple, reliable, that does not break down. You need performances as well as limited maintenance.
Today we can install the last components and then we are done.
I absolutely believe I have created a machine that can purify water by harvesting the power of the sun. It boils water. Why? Because this is the most effective method we have on Earth to clean water from any source of pollution.
The next big step is testing this machine. So this is the main challenge now.
This is some really nasty, dirty water. This machine will be put outside, facing the sun. The heat of the sun will enter into the system and is supposed to increase the water temperature. And by boiling water, we will separate water that is previously being contaminated, and we will obtain perfect drinking water. So let's cross our fingers.
After 2 hours in the sun, it's the moment of truth. The prototype produces fresh water, but it's only a dribble.
What do you think?
It's not enough. We need to improve this.
Marco's machine lacks power.
This technology requires a great amount of energy.
The problem is that the flat panel needs to be turned constantly while the sun turns itself.
Once the sun moved off the solar panel, the prototype could not generate enough power to boil sufficient water.
you always discover that you didn't consider all the details that, you were supposed to consider. We have to solve it.
Almost 10,000 kilometers away, a tech wizard is plotting to protect the world's rainforests using second-hand mobile phones. Topher White.
I have so many fans, Topher. Here's a card. Hope this phone can help the forest keep up the good work. Best, Molly Winter.
Thank you,
Seattle.
Molly. Thank you, Molly Winter. Thank you very much. No, seriously. I think I've always had an interest in environmentalism, but I was never really involved in it. You might even call me an accidental environmentalist.
Topher is a physicist with a gift for software coding. But 5 years ago, a trip to Indonesia changed everything.
I went there to volunteer at a place to take care of gibbons. And when I was out there, I actually noticed that the organization that was taking care of them, they were having a lot of trouble actually protecting their sanctuary from illegal logging. Chainsaws. So we're going to investigate right now. Their voices just over the ledge. Even just 5 minutes walk from the ranger station, where there were 3 full-time guards, we stumbled upon some people who were cutting a tree down. I realized that this was something that we could solve, because even if people can't hear the sounds of chainsaws at great distance, what I knew from my background in physics and certainly technology was that computers could. I realized that we could just reprogram phones to accomplish this for them.
Topher is developing the world's first real-time illegal logging alert system.
Pretty much all the pieces that are necessary are actually right here on this table. It all starts off with a phone. We put our software on that, and then what we basically do is we have to make sure the phone stays protected. I've always loved building things, whether it be hardware, electronics, or really just actually applications people use. I would take old recycled smartphones, retrofit them with solar panels, and put them in a protective box where they can listen for the sounds of chainsaws in the rainforest and send real-time alerts to authorities on the ground who can go and stop illegal logging. What motivates me to work on this project, obviously there's an emotional aspect to it. Deforestation is actually one of the biggest contributors to climate change. Every year, the destruction of forest releases more CO2 into the atmosphere than all of the world's transportation put together. That's all of the world's cars, trucks, ships, airplanes combined. If we can just cut down illegal logging by some small portion with this technology, it might be the cheapest, fastest way for us to affect climate change today.
Could one young tech pioneer really make a dent in this global mega problem? It's an extraordinary vision for a project running on a shoestring.
To try and do a tech startup in San Francisco, if it's a nonprofit, a small operation like ours, is really expensive. So we're actually very lucky to be able to use this garage. This is my parents', where we do everything from design solar panels to run 3D printing machines, and we do plenty of electronic prototyping. One of the things that makes Silicon Valley and the culture here able to create products so quickly is there's a general mantra of you should invent as little as possible. We'd really try to stick to that. And so we're trying to take tools that exist, like infrastructure, old cell phones, cell phone software, and we're attempting to apply those to this situation.
And the really clever thing about using old mobile phones is that they're free. People from all around the world are donating them to Topher.
Once a week or so, we get to come into an UPS store and pick up a whole bunch of packages, people who've sent phones to us. The Environmental Protection Agency in the US released a study that showed Americans throw away 150 million phones a year. So it just makes sense that we would use this trash that people don't want and use modern software to turn it into a 24/7 guardian of the forest. And what we're showing is that there's a very concrete way in which to make the world a better place.
Coming up, can Marco's upgraded purifier win over one of the world's toughest water experts?
I disagree with you entirely. In a community use, 150 litres is not very much.
Better to have 150 litres of clean water than having zero water.
And can Topher's second-hand phones really run off flecks of sunlight?
We should get an alert right here on this phone.
In Italy, Marco Attasani and his team are on a mission to deliver clean drinking water to every remote community in the developing world. They've just hit their first setback. Their prototype, a flat solar panel purifier, lacks power.
We have proven the principle of the entire system
but we still have a long way to go.
Marco wants to get straight onto finding a solution and calls a brainstorm at their local cafe.
Bravo, dai, bravo, Nicola. Whenever we have the occasion to meet together, it's always a pleasure. We are friends before even being, colleagues. Brava! Brava!
Oh, ragazzi, buon appetito.
Grazie, ragazzi. Okay, serious for a couple of minutes. Basically, guys, we need to find out another solution that allows us to, follow the sun during the day and to increase production of water. Okay. Do you have any idea, Stefano, how we could do this?
Si può fare.
We can do that.
Stefano is the team's chief engineer.
La soluzione che dicevi tu, Marco, cercare di sfruttare tutto l'irraggiamento del sole, cioè quindi tutto l'arco della giornata, potrebbe essere ad arco.
Ad arco, dici?
Ma la macchina è ferma, quindi prende l'irraggiamento da qua, dalle 8 del mattino alle 6 di sera.
Amazing.
And this is very interesting because it allows you to follow the sun during the day without moving parts. This affects dramatically the efficiency.
Exactly.
That's a good idea. Very good idea. Today was an insightful day because we made a major step forward in product development. So we are already really looking forward to implement this new solution. Matteo, cheers! Cheers!
4 months later, Stefano's idea, agreed over a bowl of spaghetti, is about to become a reality.
Buongiorno, benvenuti. Bravi. Big day today because we are going to start building the new design of Watley based on the genius conception that we are going to have a round shaped machine.
With these arches, basically, we follow the sun during the day. We are basically doubling the power. Ultimately, that means producing more water and faster.
We are ready for the tubes. Okay, guys?
These solar vacuum tubes should double the efficiency of the first prototype.
These are vacuum tubes. That means inside there is no air. They receive the direct heat of the sun. They heat up a piece of copper inside, so that heat goes directly into the central heater that eventually heats up the water.
Finally, to power the machine's systems, they fit custom-made electricity-producing panels.
Carefully, please.
Bravo. Thank you. Thank you.
This is the evolution of Watley. An amazing technology and an amazing design altogether.
In San Francisco, Topher is working towards his dream of protecting thousands of square kilometers of rainforest. Like Marco, he hopes to harness the power of the sun.
And we're trying to build a system that is able to last for years, a system that once you put it up in a tree, it continues to work and you don't have to worry about it. The only way to make that possible would be with solar power. The biggest technological challenge is how to keep a phone solar powered under a tree canopy. This is hard because you're looking at 90% shadow and really just 10% light sometimes. These rays of light, these sunflecks they're called, that break through really randomly and for short periods of time. The problem is that there's even just a small amount of shadow, it will block the entire current and very little power will be generated. So we had to build this unique solar panel design that was able to harvest these sunflecks.
Topher's design uses 7 solar panels each, with 3 electricity-generating strips.
As long as the sunfleck actually strikes all 3 of these at the same time, then in fact, that will probably generate enough power to keep the device going 24/7. This is a fully assembled device with these panels for capturing sunflecks. And the device is actually right here on the back with this 3D printed frame to control the panels on the inside. You want to make sure that you test something out before you head off into the jungle. And so we want to make sure that we work out all the little kinks before we get there. So today we're actually really looking forward to taking the system out to a place up north of San Francisco, a forest. We're up in Marin County where we're going to climb some trees and do some testing here of the system. So it's good to find a place where there's nice tall trees that have lack of sunlight and a place where we can fire up some chainsaws and do some testing for that. Shall we get started?
Yeah, fire away.
Lending a hand is buddy James Reed.
Ready?
Yep. Okay, good.
Let's do this.
Good.
These trees are quite different than the trees you see out in the rainforest, but still a lot of the principles apply.
The shady tree canopy will be a true test of the solar panel's ability to power his device.
We're going to put a test device up here in the tree, which will allow us to test the sunlight it can get and also pick up some signals from around here in the forest. So we can just sort of throw the device in here. And as you can see, even here on this trunk, there's just no sunlight to keep the thing going. The device is up there. It's listening to all the sounds. What we're going to do now is we're going to fire up a chainsaw at a pretty healthy distance, and we're going to be able to make sure this thing is sending the alert we want. So he's off using the chainsaw in the background. In a moment, after this has had a chance to go up to the cloud and get analyzed, we should get an alert right here on this phone.
So it's coming in?
Let me make sure that I see what's coming in. Oh, yeah, okay, so it just finished processing. There we go, there's the alert.
Wow.
Yeah.
Even in the shade of the tree canopy, the device works. Topher is on track to take testing to the next level, in the rainforest itself.
We're going to keep testing this over the coming days before we head off in the forest, where the stakes are much higher.
In Italy, Marco and his team have built a second prototype of their solar-powered water purifier, and it's ready to test.
Oh, great. Bravo, Stefano. Bravo, Stefano. Everything works fine, at least the electronics. So far, so good.
The next stage is the real big thing, because now the machine is assembled, we have to test it. We have done everything we could to make Whatley perfect, but now it can outperform the first version. We will place the machine outside, under the sun, and let's see how it works.
Let's see.
I would not drink this water. There is sand, bacteria, viruses.
Most probably heavy metals. This will be of a benefit for potentially millions of people. If we fail, that means getting back again with the development of the machine. And I don't really want to think about it right now.
The machine has been in the sun all afternoon, and now we are testing the temperature, which is very, very important. Good or not?
This is a very good charge.
Really?
It works.
Grande.
Very good, guys.
Good. Dai.
Their more powerful purifier can produce up to 150 liters a day. Now, to help get the world to invest in it, Marco wants endorsement from a water sanitation expert.
We are expecting an important visit. A charity expert is coming to see what he thinks about Whatley and our solution.
Paul Sherlock has inspected hundreds of water purifiers for NGOs, non-government organizations like Oxfam that tackle humanitarian issues.
The NGOs are one of the most important future customers. So it is an extremely important meeting.
I feel a little bit nervous because we have worked so hard on these machines.
If we please them, we have a business going on here and a possibility to make a huge social impact as well.
My word, that looks very spectacular.
I'll let you have a look into it.
Okay.
And we'll come back.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The sort of headlines I'm looking for today is how much water is it producing, and is it practical to use within inside of a range of communities?
Paul, how was it?
It's a very interesting piece of kit. It's nicely designed, it's nicely compact, looks modern, all very positive things. There's lots of concerns that I have. You've got to put it into the context of how would it fit into those villages in Africa. The sophistication of the technology, the weight, it's probably going to be too heavy to get in and out. In terms of water flow, 150 litres is not very much.
You're right, 150 litres, one. But what about 1,000 of these machines in all Africa? One bicycle move a Chinese person.
Yeah.
Millions of bicycles move China. Better to have 150 litres of clean water than having zero water.
Most of the NGOs wouldn't be very interested.
The NGOs, I'm sorry, are wasting billions of euros. Out of €1 that I gave to a big NGO, 80% goes into the headquarters in Roma because they have marble on the floor.
Having worked in an NGO for 40 years, I disagree with you entirely about wasting money. All the agencies, and even when I was in the UNICEF, you get bothered every day by people who come in with a machine, they've done all the laboratory tests with it, and when you put it in the field, it doesn't work.
I understand.
I think the way that you prove a machine is that you put it into the field.
This kind of guy, they are the hardest to convince.
Thanks very much.
Bye-bye. Ciao. Because they have with them half a century of experience of things that they assume the only way to deal with certain problems are the ways they have seen before. I'm strongly convinced and absolutely confident that Watley will be a success in Africa.
Coming up, Marco takes his prototype to Africa, but will the charity experts be proved right?
This is the most delicate part of the entire journey. If one string fails, the project fails. No.
And Topher puts his life on the line as he goes higher than ever before. Two determined innovators are pitting their technology against some of the biggest environmental threats in the world: deforestation and contaminated water.
This is the most effective method we have on Earth to clean water.
This technology might be the cheapest, fastest way for us to stop illegal logging.
Topher is heading into the Amazon to test his system in a rainforest under siege from illegal logging and land grabs. He'll be working with one of Brazil's last indigenous tribes, the Tembe.
The Tembe have a recognized area of land, and what's been happening over the last 5-10 years is that their land has been annexed by illegal drug plantations, by settlers, by loggers.
And this is a really important period for the Tembe because they're really on the offensive in terms of pushing these illegal loggers and settlers out of their land.
Ter guerra, porque se não ter guerra, nós não vamos ter a terra de volta, entendeu? Porque pra cá pro fundo aqui, vocês vê, o Ito sabe disso.
They're fighting against basically annihilation. They really only have 10-15 years left. If they can't protect this forest, then the entire tribe will disappear.
Welcoming Topher to his territory is the Tembe chief, Naldo.
Vai sim pela coragem da gente estar pressionando e arriscando a nossa vida, fazendo manifesto, confrontando para poder chegar aonde nós chegamos.
In May 2015, Topher came here to do a feasibility recce for his system.
When we first visited here, you just sort of take out your phone. You don't have any service whatsoever. And so our first conclusion was that we can't make a real-time system work here at all. But then you look around and you see that all these communities have antennas on sticks above their houses. They have antennas they wire up on trees. And so it was sort of learning those tricks from them that allowed us to realize that we could make it work here.
So inspired by the solutions the villagers have found, Topher will boost the range of his device by adding a new component.
No phones really work out here unless you can attach an external antenna, which we intend to use for this device that we're putting up.
Luckily, deep in the Amazon, Topher has found a kindred tech spirit.
We like this guy, Gibado, because he's the type of guy who will hack through a few antennas. He'll make cables of any length. We'll find ways to attach multiple satellite receivers to a single dish. And so he's helped us solve a lot of problems just by taking on that sort of like, we can build anything type mentality. The reason we like Egivato is because he's sort of a hacker. That's why I like you, because I'm sort of the same way. Luckily, we were able to get the antenna that we needed, and he has everything. I love this guy. He's got it all.
After picking up some SIM cards,
this is what saving the rainforest is all about. Waiting in line at Big Bend.
It's back to the Tembe village to put finishing touches to his device.
We have to make sure that everything can sort of withstand the really horrendous environmental conditions of the forest. In this case, mostly very, very wet, lots of water. We generally tend to cover it with this plumbing silicone, which is really great for waterproofing electronics. We dropped a few out of trees on the way up and tend to survive.
Now the solar smartphone is complete, Topher heads deep into the forest to the Tembe boundary, which is the most vulnerable territory for illegal logging.
I didn't really think that with the physics degree I'd be trekking through the forest with Amazon warriors. Climbing up in trees, while it is dangerous, if you go higher and higher, you're able to pick up cell phone service from a greater distance. And you're also able to find areas that are more exposed to sunlight. There are moments when you get to the top and then you're like, oh man, I don't know whether I want to stay up here. The issue is that, as you can see, I'll probably drop a good 50 meters, which will be scary.
Marco has made it to Africa. He's here to prove that his water purifier prototype does work where it matters most, in villages forced to drink contaminated water.
Africa is the ultimate destination, the most difficult area in the world to test all the potential benefits.
Now we need to go right away because we have a more than 2-hour trip.
The team head to Ebenta, where hundreds of villagers face the prospect of drinking dirty water daily.
Clean water is a big, big issue. A lot of people will take water from streams. These streams are polluted. People defecate close to streams. There's farming chemicals that get washed into these things, and then people take that water and they drink it. This machine has to be able to survive, work, and be a positive influence in people's lives. As soon as something breaks, people in these communities will go straight back to what they know, and that's taking water from a stream.
We're approaching the village, final destination. This is where things get really serious.
These rutted dirt tracks will be the first test of just how robust Marco's prototype really is.
It's just extraordinary what is here right now in Africa. Wow.
The machine has survived the journey, but it's still got to come off the truck.
This here, like there. This is the most delicate part of the entire journey. If only one string fails, the project fails. Forward. Tell him more. Forward. More. No, but not like that. Like that.
Stop. No.
This way. No. Forward. Tell him more.
Finally, Marco's prototype is in front of the people he so desperately wants to help.
This is the very first opportunity for Watley to make a real impact on people in need.
In the Tembe rainforest, Topher is preparing for a 60-meter tree climb to install his illegal logging detection system.
I'm gonna have to clear some of the leaves and branches once I'm up there. So this knife will be pretty important for that. So there's a bunch of fire ants around here. They're pretty much everywhere. They just like to choose these trees. They'll be stinging you. We'll be bit a few more times before the end of the day. Now you can just sort of walk up the rope.
Máquina grossa dessa aqui, eu fui subir lá perto de casa. Pensei que não mexia, né? Quanto mais grossa ela balança, é muito ainda.
Topher clears his path, chopping dangerously close to his own rope. After half an hour climbing, he decides he's high enough.
I'm gonna throw a big antenna up here so we can get a clear shot towards where the nearest cell tower is. There's still only a very, very, very small chance that this will work, but we gotta try it anyway, because if we're able to pick up a signal here, it means that we could power the rainforest connection system. Waiting patiently. The fly starts to get a little bit more aggressive this time of day. Luckily, there is enough surface here, small enough to make it work. Now it's a matter of tweaking it so that it works perfectly. I'll try and put the antenna up in a place where there isn't a bunch of foliage in the way.
After 2 hours up the tree, Topher has managed to attach his antenna, but not fast enough to descend in daylight.
The sun came down, kind of ran out of time here. It's too dark. So I'm actually gonna descend down into the emptiness. I'm going down. Oh. That's one step closer to letting the Tembe know what's happening in this area at all times, and giving them that much more control over this part of their forest.
The Tembe's desperate need for Topher's warning system is proved when intruders torch swathes of their forest to clear land for illegal farming. Coming up, Marco's field test hits crunch time.
The sun was not strong today, so I'm concerned about tomorrow production.
And Topher's rainforest alert system is triggered.
You hear a chainsaw.
It's dawn in Abenta. Villager Selena shows Marco and Matteo their main water source.
We are going to the forest.
Where are you collecting water, right?
Yeah. We come here, we fed this water for drinking.
Unbelievable.
That's the story. That's why we are here. That water is not drinkable. They can use it for washing the dishes or clothes, not for drinking. They do it because they don't have any alternative, and that's the reason why some of them, they die. Kids, they die of diarrhea, mostly due to the bacteria in the water.
This is real, and I want to stop this as soon as possible. Just...
Now Marco and Matteo must prove their machine can solve Abenta's water crisis.
It's the future.
I'm extremely nervous. There is something much more important than technology here. I want to know if this machine is going to be welcomed by the people.
Now we need
water.
Dirty water.
Wow.
The water can be extremely dirty. It doesn't matter. If the sun shines, tomorrow we will have fresh water.
Soapy water.
Soapy water as well. Yes.
Yes. Dirty water is inside. Now we're gonna switch it on the machine.
At the end of the day, what we want is people smiling because you are bringing to them a solution to their lives. If this test is successful, I will commit myself to come back here with even a more ambitious project as soon as possible.
It was a very emotional day today. The community here in Aventa is waiting for Wadley to produce some water. The sun was not strong today, so I'm a little bit concerned about tomorrow's production.
In the rainforest, armed Tembe investigate the latest damage inflicted on their land by illegal settlers.
Porque tocaram fogo já hoje isso aqui.
The trespassers burn the forest and then move in to illegally farm it.
São esses tipos de coisa que a gente faz, ó. Aqui ontem não tava tocado fogo. Você tá entendendo? Há uma revolta, há uma preocupação da gente. Piorou. Ela sempre foi ruim, mas agora piorou. Por que piorou?
To fight the threat of these land grabs, Topher adapts his software.
It's tuned to listen for the sounds of vehicles, which allow them to know the moment that a motorcycle goes by, which would be an indication of some illegal activity in the rainforest.
Que valor que ele pode proporcionar realmente para vocês?
Então, isso pra gente vai ajudar muito. Monitorar, vai dar coisa real, né? Pra gente não estar andando ou suspeitar coisas. Apenas a gente vai reafirmar a suspeita que a gente temos, né?
Topher is ready to fit his first detection device, meaning the system is now active.
If we were to go back to the base and we can see what data is coming out of this thing, make sure everything is as we expect, we will find out very shortly.
He briefs Ranger Shuan on procedure.
But what they allow us to do is listen in to what's happening everywhere.
Within hours of the system being active, it's triggered.
You hear a chainsaw. He's gonna go check this out on a motorcycle to verify that this is either okay activity or not.
Essa foi uma atividade ilegal ou foi vocês?
O nosso pessoal que tá carregando madeira.
Ah, então não é madeireiro, não?
Não. No momento é o nosso pessoal aqui que tá tirando madeira.
This time, it's a false alarm, but the system works. It's pinpointed in real time a chainsaw in the vast 2,800 square kilometer Tembe Reserve.
Tava um trator daqui da aldeia mesmo, tá trabalhando lá, o pessoal tava pegando uma madeira lá pra... O trator daqui do pessoal daqui que tava pegando madeira lá pra fazer casa, pra construir uma casa. Tô feliz, foi muito bom a operação, deu certo.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Thanks, man. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Aí quando o Topher chegou, tinha dúvida se o sistema de fato ia responder pra gente o que a gente tava querendo. Aí eu vi um telefone velho tudo enrolado e disse, isso não vai prestar, né? Isso não vai prestar. Que isso aí, né? É impressionante. Então isso agora pra mim é uma coisa que tudo é possível.
They realize that this is a fight for their survival. With this technological edge, they can gain the upper hand over the people that are annexing their land, and they can drive them out.
To date, the Tembe have reclaimed hundreds of hectares of land and evicted many illegal settlers and loggers.
Que vizinho é esse que está invadindo o terreno dos outros? Isso não é vizinho, isso é inimigo. Nós estamos falando com vocês na paz. Da próxima vez não vai ser mais assim, não.
Topher's battle to save the rainforest continues. His vision is for people to adopt his free software to tackle other urgent environmental challenges.
This didn't come because of any sort of high-tech solution. It just came from using what's already there. And I'm thoroughly convinced that if it's not phones, that there's always going to be enough there that you can build similar solutions that can be very effective in new contexts. Thank you very much. I think we talk a lot about responsibility when it comes to preserving the environment, when it comes to being sustainable and building solutions there. And I think that almost anybody in our society, in our culture, that has the option of being able to make a difference would at least give it a shot.
It's the day of reckoning for Marco and Matteo's solar-powered water purifier.
This is a very special day. Imagine this community being told yesterday that the machine works like this and actually being able today to see the water coming out, giving to them, I guess for the first time, clean water. It's a big, big question mark if Watley actually produced something. But we'll open the tap and across my finger, if everything goes well, you will see my face.
Amen. 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 Amen.
All what we are waiting for today is to see clean water out from this machine. So that's what we are looking forward to see now.
Here we go. Lots of people. Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody.
A little bit stressed right now. A little bit stressed. A few minutes from the truth. So let's see. This is a very important moment because today we are going to have clean, drinkable water.
And right in Sufi and a good machine.
Suddenly, I had all the community around the machine waiting for it. Imagine it failed. Try to explain these people why. Let's see. Okay. I am extremely nervous.
Yes. Yes. Here it is. You see? Wow, look at this.
You know, actually getting water was wow. It was a relief. You remember how was the water yesterday? Try this one.
Very nice.
Thank you. We did it. The first step.
Are you happy? Yes.
The smile of Selena or the other kids is gonna be with me for the rest of my life. They will never, never, never fade away. Never, never.
Amazing experience. I'm super happy for how it went.
We know we are gonna change the world. I don't give up, and I will not give up.
Since Marco returned to Italy, he's raised funds to build a vast solar purifier, providing 5,000 litres of water a day. He'll be ready to return to Africa very soon.
The point is that the energy that we need to run these machines is there. It's right up above you. It's called the sun, and it's available on the planet Earth to everybody.